Is there one question that everybody asks that you're tired of?
Never trust a skinny chef. If I have to hear that, I mean, my entire life, first thing out of people's mouth is, how do you stay like that and eat all that pasta? I'm like, I don't eat all the pasta. I eat a couple bites of pasta. I don't eat all of it.
Hey everybody, I'm Al Roker. Welcome to Cold Cuts. It's where we pile on the meats, cheeses, toppings, while we pile on the questions. Today's guest is one of my faves. I have known her since she was about 3 years old.
Oh, God.
Giada De Laurentiis, you know her from the Food Network. You've seen her on the Today Show. She's a producer. She's a director. She's a
I'm not.
Yes, you are. I'm just, go with it. You do it all. She's a businesswoman, and most importantly, she's a mom, and she is a very nice lady, and has always been.
I'm a nice lady.
First of all, how's your day going?
Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and ready to do some eating and making, I guess, sandwiches.
Bread. When you're making a sandwich,
I like all bread.
all bread.
I love bread.
All bread. We have different kinds here.
I know. I mean, my favorites are a focaccia and a rustic, right? Mm-hmm. But I will tell you that my favorite sandwiches belong on a little facelle like this.
A little what?
Facelle.
Facelle?
Facelle.
I didn't know that's what that was called.
Yeah, so it's a kind of a mix. It's Italian, but it's also French. The French make their sandwiches on bread like this.
Uh-huh.
There's not a lot of dough, a lot of crust, which is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, when I get bread, a lot of times I eat all the crust and leave the inside.
That's not easy.
So this morning I had a little toast and I ate all of the crust on the outside of the toast and I left the inside. So anyway, I like it because it's not very doughy, so I think it's perfect for sandwiches.
Wow. Well, see, something I did not know. Here's something else I did not know.
Oh.
I did not know that you were actually born in Italy.
A lot of people don't know that. I don't know why I keep saying that I'm born in Rome. I moved to the States when I was 8. Because I don't have an accent, I think that it doesn't stick.
How did you end up without an accent? Because a lot of people I know who've started in a foreign country and leave.
But how old were they?
Well, I know some folks who are fairly young.
I was 8.
Maybe that's.
And I lost it. I
Boom,
lost all
just
the
like
accent.
that.
Well, because when you go to grade school, grammar school in the States, you end up assimilating. And so, no. But my parents still have an accent. Everybody else who came here, I think the cutoff age is like 18 to 20. If you come here between anytime after 18 or 20 years old, the accent sticks. But anything before, they say you can get rid of it. I've done a really good job
You have.
at faking that I'm American.
Well,
No, just kidding.
we see you as American because it seems like ever since the Food Network has been on, you have been part of the Food Network.
Well, not that long.
I know, but.
I'm not as old as some of them.
No, but you are.
I've been there a long time now. It's
Everyday
probably
Italian is like a staple.
Yeah, it's like what, 16 something years?
Does that seem strange to you that it's been 16 years?
Yes, and when I look at
It's been more than.
footage from then to now, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh wow.
Did you appreciate just what you had achieved that early on?
There was no roadmap at that time. This is all, as you know well, the love of food and cooking in this way is a whole new adventure.
Right.
It didn't exist before. You know, people who did what I did for a living, they sort of were in kitchens. Nobody really saw them,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Today, look at, we're making sandwiches with like ingredients that didn't exist when I moved to the States. There was no mortadella. There was no good prosciutto. There was no good salami. Pancetta didn't exist. My parents were importing this stuff. Nowadays, you find a plethora. You find foie
plethora.
gras. You find all
You
sorts
get to
of
use
things.
words like plethora.
And lovely parmigiano that didn't exist either. So
No.
we've come
In
a
fact,
long way.
For the longest time, I always thought Parmesan cheese was in that green can that you should.
Because for the longest time, that was Parmesan cheese until they finally started importing it because people loved Italian food. And I think Italian food is one of those cuisines that I don't think people associate. I think they think it's American food.
Well, let me ask you, if you weren't doing Italian food, which you are the master of, what cuisine would you be most drawn to?
Asian.
Really?
Well, especially Japanese, because I find that it's very pretty. I like things that are pretty. They come in pretty packages. They're dainty. They're delicate. And I think that it's like eating a little jewel. Like when you eat a piece of sushi, it's like eating a jewel, right? I mean, think about the way it's wrapped, the way it's cut, all the little specks of different colors inside.
Facets.
Yeah, it's stunning. And so to me, that would be what I would be doing. I thought you were going to ask me a different question, but yes.
See, you never know.
No, I thought you were going to ask me what I would do if I wasn't cooking, and then I realized it's not what he's asking
Well,
me.
what would you be doing if you weren't cooking?
Something with a lot of adrenaline, like be a spy. or be a race car driver.
No, wait. Let's go back to the first. You want to be a spy?
I think it's cool.
You know what?
Living on the edge, knowing all these secrets and the adrenaline rush of it all, it's pretty cool.
I could see you as a spy.
Come on, Al.
I could. You've got that kind of Boris and Natasha thing. I could be your Boris to your Natasha. What are your biggest culinary influences?
So I would say that it's mostly my family, mostly. I mean, obviously growing up, I watched The Galloping Gourmet, Julia Child, all of those people, but I think that my aunt is one of the biggest influences in my life. My grandfather too, but I only spent X amount of time with him, where my aunt I've spent a lot more time in the kitchen cooking with her, and traveling and exploring new foods and coming up with recipes on the spot in these exotic places. And so I think she's sort of my, she never had any children. She is worked and make movies her whole life. She started when she was 18, and she's made she's become uber successful at it. And I feel like she's sort of the person I look up to and the one that I got the most inspiration, because she loves food as much as I do.
Well, it's interesting you say that, I think, because there's a whole generation that you are the most famous De Laurentiis in America. I'm serious.
Yeah, you can't say that too loud, because the rest of the De Laurentiis will
I
not like that.
I understand that.
We try to keep it all in perspective.
But I'm telling you, for a wide swath of this country, you are the most famous De Laurentiis. But for those of us of a certain age and in a knowledge of this business, your family is a big Hollywood dynasty.
Yes.
Was there ever a point where you thought of going into the family business as opposed to, forging your own pathway?
I did go into the family business before I did this. So it's a rite of passage in my family, and everybody does some kind of job in the family business. Before I went to college, because for my family, college, in Europe, at least in the old days, not anymore, college was, it was an icing on the cake. It was not necessary, especially if you had a family business.
Sure.
You just went straight into the family business. And so, me being a female, my family was like, well, why don't you just work on a movie, figure out what part of a movie, what role you want to play. It doesn't, not necessarily, when I say role, I don't mean acting so much as whatever, wardrobe, props, whatever it might be, producing, whatever. So I did a couple of different jobs on a couple of different movies. I even did a little acting, and I realized I don't really like it. I really love to cook. I know that doesn't sound realistic at the time, because it were mostly men in kitchens, right? And it was sort of manual labor, and my family was like, you're little, you're not strong, the hell are you gonna do? They're gonna eat you alive. It's like, but that's what I like to do. So if I can't do that, then I find something else to do. I didn't like the movie business, but I did do it. And I realized I was not a good actress, and I didn't enjoy the hours, and I didn't enjoy moving locations all the time. And you would think that I wouldn't like to travel, even though that's all I do these days. And now all I do is stand in front of a camera. All the things I didn't like that I wanted to do in food, because I thought that I could be artistic but be behind, sort of, I didn't end up doing. I ended up full circle right back where I didn't want to be.
But in a different milieu.
But with all of these things, and these things make me feel very comfortable. So in this vein, I'm very comfortable.
And on camera.
Yes, but I have this. Between me and the camera, there's all of this.
Your co-stars.
My co-stars are so colorful and quite delightful, and in a moment of panic, I can just put something in my mouth. Food in my mouth. Sorry, I didn't complete the sentence or the thought very well, but I meant any of these pieces of food.
What's your favorite meat? Is this mortadella?
Yes. Not bologna, but mortadella. When I was a kid and I would show up with this, everybody thought it was bologna. Have you ever had just straight mortadella?
I don't think I have.
You should try it. It's the first thing I have when I land in Rome. That on white pizza.
Now, what are the white specks?
Fat.
There you go.
So usually it's seasoned with black pepper and pistachios. It's quite delicious. Yeah. We're gonna do a little bit of pesto. Pesto is sort of like my mayo.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, it's a fat.
It's a fat, yeah. Yeah. It's a tangy fat. Here, I'm gonna give you some. And then I put a little mortadella on top. I'm a pretty simplistic person when it comes to sandwiches. And you have to remember that Italians don't eat a ton of sandwiches. We eat panini, but they're usually not even a lunch item. They're sort of a snack.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so then I put a piece of fresh mozzarella, and I'm gonna put a little bit of salt. You know what else you could put is really yummy? Have you ever had fried capers?
I'm not a big caper person, but I've never had fried capers.
Okay, well, I fry my capers.
So we're talking about the meat of your career, or let's widen out. Has there been a setback in your life that that you've had to deal with?
Yeah, I think divorce.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was married for 12 years, but I was with Jade's dad for 25. Mm-hmm. So I was 18, and then at 40 something, I'm like, now what? Mm-hmm. Now what do I do? And plus, my whole life, I think when you're with how long have you been with Deborah?
It'll be 23 years.
Okay, so when you're with somebody for 20 some years, your identity becomes, it's a joint identity in a way. Maybe not you and Deborah because you have very strong careers on your own, but most couples and all your friends, everything is sort of intertwined. Your life is intertwined.
I mean, it's so funny that you say that because when I was sorry to hear you guys.
I know.
Up, but it never, not for a moment changed how I feel about you, or either professionally or personally.
But I'm in a field that's a lot about family.
Right.
My whole career is based on family. Not that being married was the only family.
Right.
But I think for me, what I realized was my identity was intertwined with his. And I defined myself by certain things. And being married or a wife was one of those things.
Right.
I spent so much time curating that relationship. Now I got to figure out who I am, and I'm also 25 years older.
Yeah, I didn't think of it.
And a single mother.
Yeah.
And I work full time. And I think that society can be tougher on women than men.
Yeah.
I think men can come and go and do different things in their life, and I think women, we hold them to a different standard. It's actually made me more of a, let's say, real human being.
Yeah.
I am not as perfect as everybody would like to think that I am.
Maybe sometimes it takes something like this to realize how appreciated you are.
Probably. And probably I think that's what milestones in our lives are. I think that the other one was my brother's death at a very young age. I was already doing Food Network, but it was very early stages. And I remember with him and him dying literally in my arms and my sister's arms and realizing, holy cow, he just turned 30. Life is short. I better get on it.
Yeah.
And I think that's when I realized, okay, I got to focus my attention, figure out what the hell I'm doing, and make sure I do it because it's fleeting. So I think things like that really change your perspective, and they're important.
Who are some of the chefs that helped you succeed?
When I was looking and working on opening Giada in Las Vegas, I turned to Bobby Flay a lot because he'd had a 15-year relationship with them already. And he just helped me with everything that came down to understanding what this partnership with Caesar's Palace would be, what the pitfalls were, what I had to be aware of, sticking to my guns. I'd never done this before. I went from 0 restaurants to 275-seat restaurant in the busiest corner in Las Vegas. And so I was terrified. And so I think for me, he was one of the people who guided me sort of and really helped me day and night, gave me his lawyers, like really was there to walk me through it. So he was my biggest champion, I think, in that realm.
Is there one question that everybody asks that you're tired of?
Yes.
What's that?
How could I be so thin and eat so much pasta? Never trust a skinny chef. If I have to hear that, I mean, my entire life, first thing out of people's mouth is, how do you stay like that and eat all that pasta? I'm like, I don't eat all the pasta. I eat a couple bites of pasta. I don't eat all of it. I eat a little bit of chocolate. I eat a little bit of things. I don't eat an entire platter full of anything. But it's like, I think that in Europe, we know how to eat a little bit of everything.
Sure.
We drink a little bit. Like,
well, the portions are so much smaller.
Yes, but in America, the portions are ginormous. So no one has learned to eat small amounts of food. We've grown up with like giant meatballs.
Supersize.
Everything is all you can eat and supersize.
Yeah.
That's all we know. And that is also part of the culture because all these immigrants came here. And a success story in America is the more food you have, the more money you have.
Yeah.
So the bigger the meatballs, the richer you are.
Yeah.
And that's what people wanted. And so I didn't grow up like that. So to me, it's not that strange.
It's so funny you say that because to my grandmother, my dad's mother's way of thinking, you were healthy and you were prosperous if you were a little heavier.
Of course.
And so when
but
she
that
met
was the
Deborah,
beauty.
she was like, "Oh, child, you gotta gain weight. You gotta
and how many
put a little
mothers
meat on your bones?"
How many mothers say about their sons, "Hey, if your husband is super thin, he's certainly not happy. Fat husband is a happy husband."
Well, then I should have been really happy.
You are.
What's the difference between mozzarella and burrata?
Well, burrata is different because burrata has like a shell on the outside and it's buttery, so it's a different texture on the inside. It's the churning process that makes it different. It's much creamier on the inside. And it's definitely, like, for instance, my daughter doesn't want to touch it. Because it's too wet, it's too creamy, it's too milky.
You mentioned Jade, who's 9, which is hard to believe.
She's 10.
Jade is 10 years old, double digits.
You saw her when she was like an infant on the counter.
Peanut. I mean, how has she changed your life?
I think that Jade makes me enjoy the little things in this life, and I think that all children do that. They see things, they get more excited about things, and you forget. You know, we realize as we get older, we get jaded by experiences.
No pun intended.
Yes, and I think that kids sort of get excited about things that you forget should excite you.
Yeah, secret to your success. What, if you could boil it down?
I think that the secret to my success is hard work, good timing, because I think you could be the most talented person in the world, but if your timing isn't right, it probably won't work out. I think that everybody was ready at the time that I came out to make food at home. 9/11 changed all our perspectives on our families, and I came up right after that. And I think after 9/11, people felt like, I want to stay home.
Yeah.
I want to invite people over, but in order to do that, I need to learn to cook. And so they looked wherever they could to find a way to make it easy for them to entertain at home and bring their loved ones in. And I think it's a combo of all those things, and also because I've streamlined my perspective. When you think of me, you think of
Italian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But California Italian, maybe a little bit lighter than traditional Italian American food. And I think that's the key. The key is to figure out what it is you like to do and really like streamline it.
Have something that defines you.
Yes, and streamline it.
You've been so instrumental and so generous with your time mentoring other women in this business, especially in the hashtag #MeToo era. What's your advice to women who are looking to enter this end of the business?
A lot has happened, and I think that you got to be strong, and you got to stick to your guns, and you got to know who you are, and lean on the people around you that you trust to help you get through any hardships. We're all going to have them. You can't go through life thinking that you're never going to encounter a hardship. Life is about the ups and the downs, and you have to just learn to dodge them and do the best you can, and really rely on your friends and family to help you through it and to give you advice and guidance.
To top it off, our top 3 things. Top 3 Food Network shows other than your own.
Oh, what? Other than anything I'm in, right? Okay, Beat Bobby Flay,
Okay.
Barefoot Contessa,
Yes.
and Chopped.
All right, there you go.
Good.
Now,
Oh, finally!
finally,
Cheers!
cheers.
Okay, tell me if you like it. It's not gonna be like a grilled cheese, but
But it's close.
it could be good. Ooh, that's
Crunchy. That's good. What do you have still left you want to accomplish?
I'd like to open some restaurants in other parts of the world,
Ooh.
outside the U.S. Want to come visit me?
I will definitely come visit you.
you
There
go.
you go. Look for a Giada restaurant coming to a country near you anytime soon. That's Cold Cuts. That's a take. That's a wrap.
Take off what is the tie doing
It's
on?
a
I
kind
thought
of
this was casual.
This is
Sal?
casual for me.
This is casual? Because you loosen
I'm
the
not
tie a
worried-
minute?
Exactly. It's hip. It's hipster. Thank you for watching Cold Cuts. To watch more videos like these, just click here. If you want to subscribe to our channel, click here. If you just want to watch your TV do something, don't do anything.